Okay. Recording started.
Okay, so item one to call our meeting of the Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council to order. It is March 15, it is 12:30 or after. First item on this agenda is approval of last meeting's minutes. Sent out, and I think they've been here today. We entertain a motion to approve last month's minutes.
Jennifer Sturgis, so moved.
Motion by Jennifer, second by Nathan. Any questions or discussions about last month's minutes? If there are none, then I would entertain a motion that they be approved. Or excuse me, I would say that anyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion to approve has carried, and the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is juvenile grant, and Tracy, our juvenile grant is sitting here. So she is a juvenile grant. Is there anything you'd like to report?
Yes, I have some things. So since January 13th, 2025, my start date, I have 23 students in Jrac currently. I am at St. Mary's, Greensburg Junior High, Greensburg High School, North Lake Air, and South Lake Air. I serve grades 6 through 12 mostly. The referrals come from, some from probation and most of the time from the school. I have one story. I had one white try senior in high school, he got expelled. And so chances of this kiddo coming back to school in the fall to repeat his senior year is very slim. But since I had him in white try and was aware of the situation, I was able to find alternative schooling for him. So he's going to go online and he will hopefully graduate in May with a high school diploma. I am working on wrapping up wide try for the school year, but planning on some extending the program, summer program. Last summer we learned about mechanics, cooking, and volunteering out in our community. Had about 10 participants last summer. Hopefully this year we can double it. We have been recognized at the Greensburg Community School Board meeting by the dean at Greensburg Junior High for all of the work that we're doing in the building.
Any questions for Gracie?
I'll just add, it's just adding an element to the juvenile side. We've wanted to get in schools for years. I know Judge Day has been a priority of yours, and she's doing great work. So
It is very well received. The schools have all that I talked to, they're very happy with it. So she does mostly preventative type work. She is advised of students that either are being expelled or just on the edge of trouble. And she pulls those kids in and tries to work with them ahead of time. And I think it's great with what she's doing. Right now, half of her salary is paid from this grant. And that's the most they would allow us to pay. The county is paying for the balance of her salary. But that also means that we will have half for next year. It's a 2-year grant, I believe. So next year, when we come to these folks for a budget next year, it will be only to ask for half of that. You've given us the last couple of years, and the grant will pay for the other half. So we've done very well with the money. We carry that forward. We've been able to carry that forward for a long time. We've had trouble. We couldn't convince Gracie to come on board with us the first year. She's who we wanted, and she wasn't quite sure. So we kind of kept that money and all the project training, and so we got her on board. To do some training to learn why try. Got her in there for that, and so she's decided she'd rather do this than the other things she was doing, investments. So appreciate her.
yes, thank you.
Yes.
Very much. I've had 0 complaints from juvenile, 0.
Good.
So I noticed it. I'm very grateful because other than for some reason this past week, my caseload's been
I don't know what happened, but
but-
we'll fix it.
but right. I'm just very grateful now that I know when a student is being put on probation, we get very positive results. My clients like probation, they like Gracie, they like Jeremiah. That's a big change from when I started in 2017.
Yeah, it is. It is. Things had to run their course, but we are up and running. So. Next item on the agenda, there's no old business. Under new business is opioid grants. So what's happened here is we had some discussions last year about whether this group should be involved in making recommendations to the commissioners for the distribution of opioid funds. At that time, I think the only distribution was $135,000 to the wellness court, but there had not been any other distributions. So we decided that we would ask the commissioners, could this group kind of be the receptor for applications, came up with an application process. That's now online, it's public. And so what we will be doing going forward is when we receive applications, talk about them and decide whether we want to meet these people in person, whether we want to just say, I don't think this is for us. And then what we will do from this meeting is take that recommendation to the commissioners. It's completely up to them. It's their discretion, but we've got one of them here that will step ahead already. But that's what we intend to do. We have three. One was looked a little odd to me, and that was a request to receive money to test our wastewater. In other words, go to the treatment plant and test our wastewater for fentanyl and try to come up with a percentage of the people that are using fentanyl in the community. I don't know about that one.
I'm gonna speak. I will not support that. What? Who is?
We don't even know.
Nevada.
I don't know who that guy is.
I've never heard it. But I will not support that. So that's just me. But
That's interesting. That's very creative.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's for us.
And Judge Day and I had a case, oh my gosh, probably 2017, where somebody claimed a positive match result was due to water well contamination, sabotage. And the health department actually reached out to the CDC in Atlanta. And the best of my recollection is that they found that to be not credible, not even a way to test it. The dilution, so anybody who's ever experienced the drug screen, too much urine will dilute it too much. So I don't know how you could possibly get a valid result out of the entire waste.
no.
It's not
I mean, if the
even.
police are at your door and you flush a pound of it, is that gonna make us all look like we're on fentanyl? Probably. So, yeah. We're just into that subject. But that's, so I would say we move that one toward the bottom. We can vote all of them individually, but that, in my opinion, ought to be on the bottom. We did have a request by Speranza House. They are requesting that we pay off their mortgage, and that would pay it off. With
Correct.
165, I think.
Yeah, I think we have 131 left. And I did bring more information if anybody has any information that you want about Speranza in particular.
Well, that would qualify certainly, even under the restricted. We can discuss that one. We want to support these programs in our community. It's been a long time since we have them now. And I can remember when I started, we didn't have anything, not anything. So we have a couple of men's programs. Rhonda is the primary women's program. You know, we see about them, hear about them all the time. They seem to be very good things. So I feel like if we were to support a group, I think so much of this money needs to go toward keeping what we have. And if there's anything new that we can come up with, which I think the third one is something new that should be looked at as well. So what's everybody's thoughts on the Speranza request?
So what's our balance? What do we have?
Oh, you would ask that. I think we do have that.
Yeah. In the last minutes.
I meant to have those numbers. for today.
We just had what we paid, but not what it's.
I can tell you what we did was 135,000 has been taken out.
Wellness court.
65 or 60,000 to Hickory.
Yep.
And then nobody's expended any more money yet.
No,
Bailey, have you spent any of your money?
no.
It's kind of nice to know it's there.
I did,
Yeah.
I did check with the auditor, and what they do is they earmark it so we don't lose track of who has what. So you have 135,000 at your disposal.
Thank you.
And I didn't do it. These guys did it. This was before Jrac, I think. They did, that was the first thing they did. Right, and we went to the commissioners and argued for Hickory to help supplement the cost of that, because so many of us use them. Probation uses them, wellness court uses them, Esperanza is now using them. So that was something that everyone was in agreement, let's help keep them here if we can. What we were waiting on there, we were memorandum of understanding, we were going to sign something saying, if we give you this money, you're going to stay here the rest of the year at the same level of programming that you've given us. Do it. But they're still giving it to us, so they're doing it for no money, and we're not obligated to give it to them at this point, so we're going to ride that out. We're going to play Donald Trump and ride that tariffs, but we're not going to really impose it. But that's what that is.
The 135 that wellness court's been allocated to, we are spending ARPA money that we were given a few years back right now, and then that's to be spent by 12/31/26. So the anticipation is that 135 will start being gone for sure in January 27.
Good to know, in case you want to find somewhere to put that money, but it is not gone, it is there. And there's quite a bit of money left. I wish I could remember to look that up.
I'm looking at the abatements, so I'm just gonna do some math.
There was an initial group, a big one, and Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, was it pay out till 2038
It was, yeah, roughly 10 years.
progression?
Yeah, there's more money to come, which is why it's important to, let's start using this now, so we don't have a big amount accumulated that somewhere along the line, somebody says, hey, then we'll spend it, we'll send it back.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that happening, but I'm not saying it won't.
Sorry.
No pressure, we're just gonna watch.
I know,
We're
I know.
gonna go on while you're doing the.
Appreciate that.
So the third request was, with the branch. And, it sounds like they're wanting to do a lot of youth programming. I think it would still consider under the umbrella of, substance, preventative maintenance somewhat. But that seems like a really good cause that, what they're asking for. We haven't really applied any money toward youth. We are agreeable to doing things with Esperanza House, with Foundations for Recovery, if they apply. Those are adults, so if we threw in something that was more youth oriented, I think the branch has been very successful in some of the things they do. But that's the third one.
I said it was 627,000. Does that sound too low? Or
That is,
right?
nope, so that is what we get over the whole 10 years. Yeah, so roughly we're about 300,000.
Okay.
But that, take out the 135 and
60 potentially for Hickory. Essentially 200,000.
roughly, yeah. And we'll get more in, if it comes, but we should get more in September of 25.
Well, I would just comment that I really like the application process. I'm really glad that this board is gonna give some help to the commissioners to sort through these things. It would make things easier for them, since the buck does stop with them. And as far as the one that I might have some knowledge about, the Esperanza House, and I run the drug court, and we have people through there that go to the Esperanza House. And I don't think I'm overstating it to say that it is a top-notch women's program. It would be looked at as the gold standard. We have people from other counties that want to come go there because they've heard of it. We're really blessed to have it in the community, to have a resource for people who just have nothing. You go from nothing to excellence. I think that's hard to do, and I think that commend the leadership and all the people who put the work into it. So I don't know what the criteria are or the metrics that we have to use to approve the grants, what is eligible, but the Speranza House is just a terrific program. And if it's eligible, then I'm certainly in favor of it.
Else any comments about the Speranza request?
I'm supportive. Yeah, they do a great job. It's coming down to this full amount or.
So we, if I'm doing my math right, and, or you can do the auditor, 'cause as of right now, up to 2024, we should have received 2,640, around $264,000 and some change.
Yeah.
So we've got,
70.
yeah, 135. And then minus 60.
I think you're rough, man.
Like 70,000-ish.
Around 70, so it sounds like it's not there to give the full amount, but.
When's the next draw?
September 25.
That's what it says now. When it hits the auditor's office, that I do not know. Because it's supposed to hit back in September 2022 or something, and it hit, a year later. So we got a huge lump sum at once, but it's supposed to hit every September.
So
Do we have anything else on the horizon that we're gonna move this money for, that we have to be prepared as well?
So,
Just thinking ahead, if
Yeah,
you-
yeah,
you
yeah.
spend all what you got, and then you say, oh, we need this for this. Now, I'm just,
I mean, thankfully, it's not been spent because we've kind of set back and as the judge come up with this process to give you guys recommendations on. I mean, it ought to be treated the base, help opioid epidemic. That's what it was awarded for. So,
I feel like the Speranza House is more in that vein,
yes.
versus the All for One Ministries. I would lean towards Speranza House.
And just so you guys know, even if we don't get the full amount, we do have money from our sustain, or from our capital campaign. So we could still pay off our mortgage.
It's just going to help you,
If,
obviously.
right, but yeah, whatever you guys are willing to contribute will help us keep that much more in our sustaining fund, because as we learned through COVID, thank goodness we had that sustaining fund, because we were able to not close our doors.
Somebody-
And so we are looking at the possibility of expanding to a third house, but I think right now we're trying to see how well we do with the second house. And, so just so you guys also know, we've also put in a grant to the community foundation and have the opioid grant as well.
Rolling down,
So,
rolling down.
yes, so we did put in for that, Speranza did, and what we're asking from them would be to actually start a new program where we, now that we have a licensed clinical social worker on staff, have her oversee having the residents who want to participate go through peer recovery coach training, so that we can continue to expand non-residential treatment in the community. So, but that, a lot of that would be contingent upon being able to get that community foundation grant. So, and then we did also ask for United Fund again. We are a United Fund partner. We get 30,000 a year from them, and that pays for staffing. So that's why we're asking from you guys for a capital investment. And that's when I say it's one and done, right? It's not like, oh, we give you the, whatever, 70,000, and then, okay, well, how are you going to sustain the second year program? You don't have to worry about that. It's just to help us with being able to look at future projects, because we don't have any loans sitting up there.
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna entertain a motion that the application for the wastewater treatment monitoring, that we've all communicated well, we're not really in favor of. I'm gonna entertain a motion that not be taken to the commissioners for their consideration.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Bill. I don't think you should vote.
I'll second it. I'll second.
But I'm
Abby will
also,
take, Abby will second that.
I got you.
Any more questions or discussions on, basically, just not taking that one to the commissioners.
I just want the record reflect too that I'm not going to vote on
Right.
any of
We will, we'll make sure we do. So that being said, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All disapproving of that motion, say nay. So that motion carries. So again, probably maybe a letter just saying we discussed it. And that, we are not, it was voted on, and we are not taking that one to the commissioners for their consideration. The second one we're going to ask is that the board approve taking the grant application from Speranza House to the commissioners for their review. They can decide how much.
Yeah,
I feel like, but we have to tell them what they've asked for, that we all approved the idea of it. So the motion would be that I take that to them for their consideration. So I would entertain that.
So moved.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Matt made the motion, Bill made the second. Any questions or discussions about how we're going to handle that? There being none, then all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
And all that disapprove, say nay. So that motion carries. That'll be one when I get on the agenda, probably for the April meeting, that I'll take that application in. And we will show Katie that Jennifer abstained on that vote. And then the third vote would be on the branch. What was the name of them? All for One Ministries. The motion there would be whether or not that is taken to the commissioners for their consideration. Doesn't mean that they wouldn't be able to say no to it.
Can we just table that and see what the amount is? Because the commissioners only do 40,000, there's some cash sitting out. Maybe we reconsider that at our next meeting,
Okay. So
rather than saying no.
I would say that we have a motion by Nathan to just table that application. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Bill will second that. Any questions or discussions about that? So we can kind of watch and see what the commissioners do with Speranza House. And if there are monies left, then certainly we can bring that back up at a later date. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. And so that motion carries. So that grant request will just be considered tabled. When I go in April, I will present the Speranza one, let them decide yea or nay and the amount. So everybody okay with the process of how we're doing this? It's going to be a continuing thing, I think, as we get money. But it's just, I like to be able to tell the commissioner that we have everybody at the table that has an interest in this in the community. Feet on the ground that has said this is what they think, and so it just makes their decision a lot easier. Feel like it would help you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Good enough. Next meetings, we have the next one in June, one in September, one in December. These are going to coincide going forward with community corrections meetings, so we'll do those at noon. You can eat twice if you're on both boards.
That's not why I was giving the thumbs up.
You looked hungry, so.
I'm with you, Nate.
So I would entertain a motion that we adjourn our
Annual survey.
annual survey. There is-
Point number 6.
Sorry about that.
That means you gotta be quick, Abby.
I'm suffering, everybody's suffering. Okay, so what are county's 2 highest priority areas for change regarding community-based corrections and recidivism reduction in the upcoming year?
2 biggest priorities that we have.
I think just because we started to do it is tracking data. I started to track data for justice counts on reconvictions and all this fun stuff. I think it's easy. I think we're gonna need it eventually for funding. And I think that's an easy goal.
Great,
And we'll be tracking recidivism and all that.
great.
That's why this is all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
No,
Can
It's
we,
coming.
can we say, like, as the second one, something about the juvenile? I don't know exactly what we need to say, but, because it does seem like that's something we're focusing on is recidivism reduction, or not even recidivism, but
Prevention.
Yeah, increasing prevention and.
We're trying to pick things that we are going to do.
Well, we think is the priority.
The highest
The two
priority.
highest priority areas for change.
I would think our highest priority is do things that we feel confident we're going to actually do.
Right.
One of those is maintain existing staff on corrections, probation, law enforcement, et cetera.
Retention and stuff.
And that's community.
Without our staff, we don't much accomplish. So I think that's a.
Data and staff retention.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys do data, I know you don't have
Data
to on this,
tracking and
but
stuff.
everybody does data, so.
That's a good
Retention and data collection. You guys can- I'll have to find out the amount allocated for opioid funds. And then I can take care of most of the opioid funds. Outline your local Jrac accomplishments during 2024. The main one I could think of was becoming the gatekeeper for the opioid fund.
Yeah.
When did we start the local Jrac? How long has this been going on?
It's been a year.
Can you also put on there monitoring the juvenile grant?
I think it's been.
That didn't technically
Is
end
it?
until 2025. Yeah, that could be next year, so.
I know.
There we go, good talk.
Existence.
I won't remember to say it next.
How long's the wellness court been going?
23.
23.
2 years. Coming up on 2 years in April, right?
Yeah, wow.
But we got our full-time employee, Becca started in May, so it
Oh,
became
true.
up and running.
That's true.
Abby was fully running it before.
GIT got.
Yeah, addition of-
2024.
Addition of dedicated staff, maybe say that, addition of dedicated staff to the.
When is the next wellness court?
Every week,
Every
Yeah,
Thursday.
every Thursday.
Thursday, we do the public session at 10 o'clock.
What can state Jrac do to further support local Jrac?
Money, 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 money.
Tell us what to do. There's a character limit there.
Okay, what barriers does your local Jrac face in terms of adopting more innovative research-based policies and programs locally?
Lack of mental health treatment providers.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big
I
ticket
don't feel
item.
like Jrac has any authority. That's my opinion. Like, it's, we meet, we are an advisory board. We don't have a budget. We don't write checks. We don't hire anybody.
For advising.
So we're just we're a think tank.
Yeah, there you go.
So if we get beyond being a think tank and can actually put our thoughts into actions, it would be helpful. But we're not. We just come up with ideas.
I think the ideas are that we come up with them and then either the partners are sitting on this board and we can implement them outside, or the team goes and meets with those partners, try to get them to implement the idea or something similar to it. But the lack of mental health treatment, I think is gonna be a hard one, because I know we've tried for years to get buy-in from other community partners and it just isn't
Supposedly the state's trying to change that, I think.
really, okay.
But we'll see.
It'd be interesting to see what that conversation is after a year's worth of CIT though.
Right.
I mean, genuinely, I really do think that team is going to show a pretty vast improvement within our community and probably within the next 12 months.
I know, I guess I meant it, like facilities, things
Right.
like that, yeah.
Like, we don't even have a psychiatrist in this town. We don't have a psychologist in this town. We don't have juvenile treatment facilities. We don't have,
I guess we're just rural, so.
If you write down, we're rural.
I hope
Yeah,
that
that's
just
good.
covers it.
We're rural, leave us alone.
Okay, I know, Judge, was it last meeting we talked about technical assistance?
We did,
We need
and
to make a decision.
there again, we have more people here. So what we did is, I've been kind of frustrated with this not knowing, well, what are we supposed to do? Because I don't want to not do something that we're supposed to do with Jrac. And I just wait on someone to give me directives, start keeping track of this, fill out this form. So we got in touch with someone at the state level who does, what would you consider training? Will train us.
No, she does technical assistant.
Okay, so what, I mean, I was a little taken back by, you know, I didn't feel like because I just like asked, what are we supposed to be doing? And I don't feel like she gave me a good answer, that they know what we're supposed to be doing. And she spent a little bit of time more than I thought she should of saying, we will help you develop a mission.
It is a
So it's like, well, we would probably do that. But, you know, if that is where you're starting, then maybe it's just the cart is before the horse, and these boards have been set up and they really haven't given us the meat of what we're supposed to do. I like the old opioid thing that we do. So the technical assistance will be time consuming. She said it will be more meetings than once a quarter. And I told her I'm going to have to ask my board about that because they may not want to. They're all busy. So what's everybody think? Do you want to have someone at the state level come down and teach us how to be a Jrac board, or wait until, oh, you feel like we're doing okay the way we are?
Did you get the sense that they would know what to tell us if they came down? Did you get a sense of that?
They don't-
I mean,
and I think it's on the line with me.
Yeah.
We,
You
We want to be confident they know what they're doing.
Yeah. along
That's what I'm
with
saying,
that.
like, since they're, we don't need them to come to technical
Theoretically,
for our
for
board.
the concept
Yeah.
to them,
So I don't know.
because you know, the mission statement should be the same for everybody. It's their agency. We are their board.
You'd like to think that they had developed a set of best practices if they want us to be uniform statewide.
I don't know. What'd you think about that?
I think it's got good and bad. I think it, not one size fits all, but I think it's gonna be kind of like the utopia Jrac, you know. I think that's what they're gonna run off of. They're not gonna run off barriers and
Yeah.
think, you know, we're gonna be compared to Marion County. I think we should run similar to how somebody of not our size does. Jennifer and I were talking, the sequential intercept mapping is coming August, September, Mike updated us. And that's gonna be really intensive. It's gonna take everybody in this room. There's about 40 people that are taking part in that. So 2 or 3 days saying, well, we define all the gaps in the system. And that's really where, from talking to other counties, where Jrac comes in. Because when you, because we're gonna have everybody at the table, and so it's kind of Jrac led, the system mapping is, and defining the gaps and how can we fix those gaps. So I feel like maybe tabling the assistance until we would get that system mapping, so we know we have clear goals of what to work on. So maybe reevaluate next, you know, August or September if we would want that technical assistance. It'll always be there, doesn't mean we have to do it right now.
So that means marking no on this survey then, would you say?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say, let's just vote real quick. I'll entertain a motion that we table the idea of getting technical assistance for Jrac until after the systems mapping is completed. So that'll be the motion.
So moved.
Jennifer makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Kathy makes a second. Any questions or discussions about that? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So that is, basically, we're just going to table that. If that lady calls or emails, makes the most sense.
Okay, we have not reviewed or evaluated the local jail population since the last annual report. We haven't needed to.
110 this morning.
Okay, it's going up, ticking. You were so close to 100. Have we set local performance measures? No. data we review. It'll be the juvenile grant and then eventually we will start reviewing the data that I collect and get going. We'll start reviewing that, but I guess we're not reviewing that for now. No, I guess the gathering data would be me. Do you guys feel like it's important because it is like a community-based board to not only have like our data, but like the police department, sheriff's department's data, like calls, just how busy you guys are, or whatever you guys would feel like would be important for like the judges, prosecutors, stakeholders to know.
I feel like I don't know how valuable that would be until we get the mapping done.
Yeah.
And that might help us
Okay.
know whether we need that data.
Do you still want my data?
Yes.
Okay. Just worth a shot. A baseline data need for system review. I'm gonna go with no.
Bureaucracy in action.
Plan to begin, yes, we have a plan. Figure it out, what's my plan?
Well, and when we do the system intercept, that'll
Right.
really point us in a good
Yeah, it'll
direction.
really help.
So we haven't identified data we need, but we have developed a plan to begin collecting the data we haven't identified.
Oh, I guess, so then no. I guess I have identified the data I need. Click on it.
Love that.
The only thing the data will show is if we need additional employees and we have no
Yeah.
ability to hire. So
Right.
so that's what it's gonna show.
Yes. And then we're not interested in technical assistance in that. What would we like to know the local Jrac? Can I put, what are we supposed to do?
I suppose, are there any counties that are effectively using their JRAC?
Well, we are.
Yeah, that's true.
Other rural counties. that-
Best
that the
practices
state
from
knows
other
are
rural
effectively
There you go.
Utilizing Jrac. Really talk to them, see what they do. That's the easiest way to get to the bottom of anything.
Have you ever reinvent the wheel for them?
And for what it's worth, I hear Cass County is doing a really nice job.
Oh, that's the one with the
That's
person I
the
had
preacher. Are they blue?
Yeah.
You're not as rural as we are.
Logansport only has a very large facility. Sorry, I'm just joking.
Well, yeah. sure
It's
they-
sort of like, oh, look at Johnson County, like, well, yeah, they actually have a psychiatrist who goes out on their CIT.
Yeah.
And has a hospital take them to.
Okay, well, I will get this submitted. Anything else?